Ever wonder why some kids completely shut down or explode over things that seem small? Why does one child shrug off a bad grade while another spirals into a meltdown? The key is simple. You can't reason with a dysregulated brain. Just in case you're new here, I'm Stuart Perry, but most people know me as Mr. Stu. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, a child therapist, and an autism spectrum disorder clinical specialist. Here on Bad Kids Don't Exist, I help adults better understand kids so kids and their caregivers thrive. In this episode, I'm bringing you part of my most popular training, From Chaos to Calm, which I recently presented with Catholic Charities of San Antonio. We're diving into Mr. Stu's hierarchy of de-escalation, a tool I designed to help adults understand what might be underneath challenging behaviors. Because, spoiler alert, kids don't just act out for no reason. There's always something driving the behavior. And if we want to really help them, we have to figure out what that is. If we're only focused on managing behavior without understanding what's underneath it, we're missing the point. If you want to follow along or get a printable version of the hierarchy of de-escalation, head over to badkidsdon'texist.com/resources and download it for free. Let's get into it. Has anybody heard of Maslow's hierarchy? You can throw a yes in the chat, or I got some thumbs up, some hands raised. Great. Maslow's hierarchy, there's a few things that are really important to remember about Maslow's hierarchy. And if you haven't ever learned about Maslow's hierarchy, here is your intro to Maslow's hierarchy. There are several levels to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And basically the major concept is that people's minds, or the energy that people can put towards things, can't move to the next level. It can't move to a higher level until the needs below it have been taken care of. So at the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy are what are called physiological needs. That's food, water, warmth, and rest. The next level, after those needs are taken care of, the next level are what are called safety needs. That's like money, resources, and shelter. Then the next level of needs are what are called social needs. That's family, friends, community. The next level are esteem needs. That's self-esteem, excellence, and this is also where grades fall, is in this esteem level. Sometimes we wonder why kids don't seem to care about their grades, but maybe they don't have enough food to eat. If they don't have enough food to eat, they don't have the energy to think about their grades. And then finally, there is this level that is called self-actualization. That is finding out who you are as an individual and why you are going to matter in the world. We start at the bottom with physiological needs. It's food, water, warmth, and rest. This is also in your handouts. The full hierarchy is in your handouts, as well as a blank one if you want to take any notes for yourself. So at the bottom are these physiological needs: food, water, warmth, and rest. And here's what you can ask yourself. Is the child hungry, hot, cold, or tired? If the child is hungry, hot, cold, or tired, the only thing that is causing them to be as dysregulated as they are is because they are hungry, hot, cold, or tired. It is not what that kid said to them. It is not because that kid took their toy. It is not because you asked them to do work. It is because they are hungry, hot, cold, or tired. I don't know about you. I get very, very hangry. If you're a hangry person, give me some love. Either throw me some type of reaction or give me a yes in the chat. Oh my goodness, that was the most. That's awesome. Hangry people. Yes, me too. If I'm hungry, don't mess with me. I need a snack first. Same with being tired. I was telling Karen before everybody logged on that there are times I do like a game night at my house, and I will just tell my friends, like, you all, I trust you in my home. You all have fun. I'm going to bed. I'm out. I'm done. I am done with this. You all keep playing. I trust you, whatever. I'm going to sleep because I am tired and I'm ready to go to sleep. The same is true with children. If a child is hungry, hot, cold, or tired. We have to take care of that. That is the thing that is causing them to feel dysregulated. If they're hungry, can they get a snack? If they're hot, if they're outside, can we bring them inside? Can we get them some water? If the child is cold, again, if they're outside, can we bring them inside? Can we get them a blanket? Can we get them a sweatshirt? Whatever it might be. If they're tired, we just got to let them rest. And too many times there's kids that have disruptive behaviors and people react and they think, I need them to know right now why what they did was inappropriate. No, you have to help them regulate first. So if they're tired, sometimes it's, hey, I know you're really angry right now, but I can see that you're tired. How about we just sit over here and rest? Don't tell them go take a nap. That's a totally no. If you're a parent, you don't just tell a child to take a nap that gets all big all over again. But you can say, hey, I know you're really upset, but I can also tell that you're tired. Why don't we just go sit down for a minute? Just go sit down. That's it. Just pause until the child is regulated. But that first question is, are they hungry? Are they hot? Are they cold? Are they tired? Because if they are any of those things, that is why they're dysregulated. I used to work at a psychiatric residential facility, and we would play kickball outside with kids in the summer. And in Kentucky in the summer, it does not get as hot as it does in Texas, but it gets hot, especially for us. Like, we're used to snow sometimes, so it gets hot. And kids would be out playing kickball, and there were more fights around kickball than anything else. And so people said, oh, we need to not play kickball. And I said, no, that is not what's going on. We need to find a place to play kickball that is not blazing hot, where these kids are getting hot. So we found a gym, an air-conditioned gym, where these kids could play kickball in the summertime. And they were able to play kickball and not get in. I'm not saying that there were no fights. There were still some arguments and things like that. And there were still some explosive behaviors at times. But it greatly decreased. Why? Because those kids were just hot. That's all it was. When we are hot, we got to cool down, or else we are more on edge. Our brains don't have the energy to go to other things. So ask yourself first, when a child is showing disruptive behaviors, okay, let me see. Are they hungry, hot, cold, or tired? If they're any of those things, let me offer to take care of that need. Forget the disruptive behavior. You are just helping them regulate right now. Hungry, hot, cold, or tired. That's the first level. The next thing, and this one's a little bit tougher. These are the resources that we wish we could just take care of for kids. They're called safety needs, or safety needs. These are the things that we wish we could just handle for them. We wish that we could just give them as much money as they needed. We wish that we could just pay their parents' mortgage. We wish that we could make sure that they get 3 meals a day every day. We wish that we could do all those things. And really, in the grand scheme of things, it's just not possible for us as individuals. We can set up systems that support them, but sometimes kids are going to go home and they don't know if they're going to have dinner that night. Or they're going to go home and they don't know if in a week or in a couple of weeks if that house is going to still be theirs. Or they're going to go home and they're not going to know if the electricity is going to be on. But what we can do is we can make sure that this child knows that they are safe emotionally and physically right now. Not when they go home, not before they came to us, but right here, right now. We can send the message, I am not going to let anything physically harm you, and I'm going to protect your emotions. That means that if they're in some dangerous situation like kickball is going on, that means that we move them over, to not grab them and shake them and pull them over to the side, but we say, hey, come over here. You might get hit with the ball if you're over there. That's sending the message, I'm keeping you safe physically. If they are starting to cry and maybe they're screaming, it's telling them, oh, I know being sad can be really tough. I am saying it is safe to feel this emotion right now. I'm not going to make you feel less because you're feeling a big emotion. I'm going to let you know that right here, right now, You are safe. And if you can send that message, that helps the child regulate just a bit more. Again, it doesn't take care of everything that they might go home to, doesn't take care of everything that maybe they experienced before they got to you, but you can say right here, right now, you don't have to worry about those things. I've got you. You are safe. The next level are social needs, and this one is really tough, especially if you work in groups of kids. The questions to ask in social needs, and those social needs are family and friends and community, is, are the child's peers watching? If the child's peers are watching, that child has to care more about what their peers think than what you think. They care more what their friends think of them than what you think of them. So if you are calling them out in front of all their friends, then they have to show their friends that they are unaffected by that. And they will do whatever it takes to show their friends that they are unaffected by that. If they are being called out in front of all this group, then they are going to do whatever it takes to preserve the relationship with their friends over preserving the relationship with you. I had a client one time, and I have said this at every time I've done this training, and maybe I should just scrap this line, but I'm going to keep using it until somebody is on it with me. I thought it was brilliant when she said it, but she said, the show is over when the audience is gone. The show is over when the audience is gone. If you are in front of a big audience of this child's peers, expect a show. But if you can pull them to the side, or not, and that doesn't mean tell them get out in the hallway, and it doesn't mean come here so I can talk to you. It means maybe you move over to them and you get real quiet so that nobody else in the room can hear, and you can say, hey, I know that you're having a really tough time right now, but now is not the time to be doing that. Okay. Okay. It is not putting on a show. If you put on a show, their show will be bigger and will be better than yours if they are in front of their peers. Do your best to see if you can get them away from that group, or if you can create an environment where you move to them, but it's so quiet and so personal that it's not in front of everyone. And then in these social needs as well, it's so important. Does this child know you care for them? And not, oh, yes, I have cared for them before, but do they know that right here, right now, in this moment, you care for them? Even when they've thrown a desk, do you still care for them? And if you cannot say yes to that question, that's okay. You have to check that in yourself, but that means you are not the one to help this child right now. You might need to call and ask somebody else to come in and help. Or it might be that you are dealing with a particularly difficult child, and it is, okay, I can say, yes, I care for them right here, right now for 15 minutes. And then Karen better be at the door or else I'm going to lose my job today. So you can also rotate. At the psychiatric facility that I worked at, we had a code where we would say, hey, you have a call in the office. And what that meant was, I see that you are upset right now. You need to back away. Let me take over this interaction. That's okay. But that child has to know the person helping them cares for them right here, right now. Not just in the past, but right here, right now. Even when they're being disruptive, right here, right now, you care for them. So if the child's peers are watching, try to get them alone, and make sure you are sending the signal that you are here with them. Yes, and Karen, you say tag out. Yes, oh yes, like a tag team match from professional wrestling. You might be able to come up with your code. I just worked with a school, and they came up with a code to say, where a teacher could call the principal and say, I need a cup of water. And then I said, and if it's really bad, you can say, I'm parched. Get me the cup of water. I'm really thirsty. I'm dying of thirst. Get me a cup of water. But it's not, hey, I need help with Mr. Stu. He is causing so much trouble. Get down here. I'm so angry with him. No, that does not help the child regulate. It's got to be in some sort of code that you understand, but it's not showing the child that they have upset you. That doesn't help them regulate. And right now, that's what it's all about, is helping this child to regulate. Then we can move on to the esteem needs. Esteem needs are things like self-confidence, respect, and excellence. So in this level, there's a few questions you can ask. Has the child been allowed to save face? I've done observations where I've actually seen adults look at young children and say, how could you be so stupid? If you look at a young child and you say, how could you be so stupid? Then they're going to show you how stupid they think they really are. And it's going to be bigger and it's going to be better than what you could have imagined. Help them save face. Help them to know that even though you don't agree with their decision, they are not stupid for having made their decision. A child snatches a toy from a child, they shove that child back. We shouldn't look at the child and say, how could you be so stupid to shove them? It wasn't stupid. It wasn't the best decision to make, but it wasn't a stupid decision. That makes sense. They took this from me. I'm going to pay them back. It's not a great decision. It's not a positive decision, but it makes sense. If you don't allow a child to save face, if you haven't respected them and you haven't shown them like, oh yeah, I kind of get it. I don't agree, but I get it. Then it's going to be really hard for you to help them to regulate. The next question is, have they been made to feel less than? Have you elevated yourself where you are the one who's going to be talking the whole time and you are the one that's going to be answering all the questions, or you're not going to let them share their side or whatever, that they are less than? If you have made this child feel less than, it's going to be really hard for them to regulate because that feels dangerous to a child. And then finally, do they feel respected? Can you still show them respect even though they have thrown a chair or done something physically aggressive? Can you still respect them? Many times as adults, we say, you need to treat people the way that you want to be treated. And that's true. We need to treat people the way that we want to be treated. And there's a follow-up. We need to treat people the way that we want to be treated, even when they don't treat us that way. And even if that person is a child. And too many times I see adults completely forget this whole treat others the way you want to be treated when they're dealing with a child who's been disruptive, because that child has been disruptive. And so they do it as this like tit for tat, where it's like, you did this to me, so now I'm going to do this thing back to you. And we forget we are the adults. We are to model for them what we want them to show, even when they have been dysregulated. So they throw a chair or whatever it might be. We don't then throw a chair back at them, right? But we shouldn't also scream at them. We should still treat them with respect and give them that respect, even when they don't give it to us, because if we don't, we can't expect them to show others respect, even when they aren't fully respected either. We have to model for children what we want to see in our children. And then finally is that top level. It's the self-actualization. And these are the questions you can ask. Can I empathize? So again, it's not, yes, what you did was a great decision. It's, I understand why you did that. It's not, I approve of your decision. It's, I get it. I can see why you would think that was a good choice. And then the other question is, can the child understand what they did and why it may be an inappropriate response? I work with young children, so elementary age and younger. I work with all ages. My youngest is 2, my oldest is 19. So I've got I run the whole gamut. But sometimes, especially with young kids, they don't even know that their response was inappropriate. I worked with a family, and there was a little girl, and she is diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. And she had a baby doll, and she was coloring on the baby doll. Now, that baby doll belongs to her school, and other kids in the class like to play with the baby doll. She had taken a crayon, and she had drawn all over the baby doll. And I was talking with the mother of this child, and we were talking it through. And come to find out, this little girl saw tattoos all over her mother and didn't understand why this baby didn't have tattoos just like her mom. So she was drawing tattoos all over this baby doll, not because she's a bad kid doing bad things, because she likes doing bad things and wants to make somebody's life miserable, not because she wanted to wreck the baby doll, but because she was like, oh, there needs to be tattoos on this baby doll. It could be that you have reacted in a big way to something the child doesn't even understand why what they did was inappropriate. So make sure in this level also that children get why what they did wasn't right. If you're telling them not to run around the pool or whatever it might be, you can say, hey, it's important to not run around the pool so that you don't slip and fall because it gets wet and you are susceptible to slip and fall. You might not use the word susceptible, but might be likely to slip and fall when you run around this wet concrete. Not just, don't you dare run around the pool, but hey, don't run around the pool because you could slip and fall. It's easy to slip and fall here. That's it. Now they know why it's inappropriate, not just that it is inappropriate. When you put all that together, this is in your handouts. This full hierarchy with all those triage questions, that is just regulate. That is just helping the child's brain come back online. And so many times people forget all these things. This child is hungry and they're hot and their friends are watching and you're yelling at them. And we wonder why they don't calm down. It's because you didn't go through the triage. Check these things as you are working with kids, especially as you are working with kids who are having disruptive behaviors or just having a really difficult time. You can go through all these things. Make sure you're meeting these needs. And as you meet these needs, then children have the capacity, then they are able to bring themselves back online and re-regulate themselves. If this training resonated with you, don't stop here. Head to badkidsdon'texist.com/resources to download Mr. Stu's Hierarchy of De-Escalation, your go-to guide for understanding what's underneath behaviors instead of just reacting to them. And if you're part of a team that works with kids, whether it be teachers, therapists, social workers, childcare staff, and you want a live or virtual training, let's make it happen. Head to badkidsdon'texist.com/booking and let's talk. Remember, behavior is communication. Before we correct, before we discipline, before we jump to conclusions, we have to ask, is this child dysregulated? And if so, what do they need? What's underneath the behavior? If you found this helpful, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs it. Until next time, remember, some things exist, some things don't. Bad kids don't exist. Peace.